And there'll be 10 belts in every weight class. Can you imagine how many sanctioning fees they'd be able to get people to pay with that? Can you? There'd be a ZUFFA Boxing card every night. All the jobs will be taken by AI, so if you want to make money, you just have to fight on TV. What a wonderful future we have as a society. Or we could stop replacing everybody with fucking robots. Can you imagine? Although, honestly, robot boxing would be pretty dope, actually. I take that back. Maybe we should replace everybody with robots. They're already replacing streamers with robots. I'm sorry I'm not a kawaii anime girl with fat titties, by the way. I apologize for that every stream. I should apologize for that more often. 159 head punches for Opataya, yeah. CTE. CTE. Glanton has brain damage, bro. Glanton has been given brain damage by Jai Opataya in this fight, unfortunately. That's what this was always going to be. This was always going to be Brandon Glanton standing in front of Jai Opataya and getting beaten down. Props to him for not getting finished, but this wasn't like a Rocky movie. He didn't really hurt Opataya. Opataya wasn't really threatened, challenged. Very easy one-sided dominant victory, albeit for a dominant champion who fights nothing but one-sided fights. I mean, Opataya needs to move up to heavyweight. The best fight for Jai Opataya is Alexander Usyk, man. There we go, and he staggers Glanton with a big shot. Staggers Glanton with a big shot, but Glanton's so tough. Glanton doesn't give a shit. Glanton's still in there. Lands another big shot. Glanton's still not out of there. Another combination. Glanton has a head made of absolute titanium, dude. Glanton became a professional boxer for a reason. A brutal body shot from Opataya. I mean, dude, if Glanton hasn't been finished already, Opataya landed a shot in round 4 that would have killed a lot of people, right? Opataya landed a shot in round 4 that would have had a lot of guys knocked clean out. He's landed a lot more punches to Glanton that would have knocked a lot of men out. And Glanton has not gotten knocked out. Glanton is tough. And Glanton's still holding and the ref not taking points, but it is what it is. Just for the safety of the fighter, it's good to let the clock run out here. Glanton would be smart to stop moving forward, but he just keeps moving forward and takes another uppercut. And Jai Opataya, smartly, giving Brandon Glanton a big hug there after the fight ends. I would too. That is a hard-earned paycheck for Brandon Glanton, man. This is a dirty business sometimes. That's one of those fights you honestly don't like to see. I would have rather they stopped that fight, but Glanton is so tough. How do you? He didn't really look visibly affected enough by any of those shots, so how do you stop that fight? Like, genuinely. It's really hard for me to say, you know? At what point there would have been for the ref to stop the fight? I mean, even as late as round 10, Glanton landed a big shot over the top. But like I said in my preview video, this fight was always just set up for Opataya to just punish his opposition. It's not like Glanton was the most obvious title contender. He's really just there to be tough and to let Opataya put on a show, and that's what happened. The uppercut was just there all night. Glanton was just, I'm going to position myself right in front of you, and we're going to stand and trade. And the truth is, Opataya had faster hands, southpaw, just more angles, better movement. I mean, yeah, Glanton had very good footwork, like Max Kellerman was saying repeatedly in the early rounds. He had great footwork to consistently get in front of Opataya, but if the tempo picked up at all, which that's not up to Brandon Glanton, that's up to Jai Opataya, thank you very much, how fast the tempo is. If the tempo picked up at all, he was screwed. So all Opataya basically had to do once he got in the pocket was let his hands go, and Glanton really didn't have a chance. Glanton's best defense in this fight was having a hard head. And, you know, like I said, you worry about a fighter's health. After taking punishment like that. And, you know, that's Glanton's game plan. Stand and trade, stand and bang. It's very old school. It's very throwback. You know, the old school boxing fans will love it. He's a fighter he's a fighter out of a different era, certainly. I think he would fit in the heavyweight division. That's what I said, bro, in my preview video. He's like a 60s or 70s heavyweight brawler. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to stand in front of you and trade. But unfortunately, Glanton doesn't really seem to have a reliable big shot. He landed a nice overhand right there in the 10th, like I said, but I was waiting the whole fight for him to land something big. He was moving forward with a lot of intention, but a lot of times he was also grabbing and holding, and there was a lot of dirty stuff by Glanton in the fight. There were some low blows. Also the holding. He was grabbing over and over. He got 1 point deducted for holding in the 6th round. which is very early. And I get it. You know, the ref's trying to get him to cut it out. But he didn't cut it out. He kept holding for the entire fight. And at a certain point, you realize that he's holding to just, you know, minimize the head damage that he's taking.
Magazine Cruiserweight World Champion, and now the inaugural ZUFFA Boxing Cruiserweight Champion of the World.
They still have the IBF belts in the ring, which is funny. He got 3 belts on in the ring.
So I got 3 belts, he's got 2, and the other one's got 1. So let's get it on.
That's 6. There's 6 freaking belts now. You heard him say it. It's official. There's 6 belts in the cruiserweight division.
Go up to heavyweight Evander Holyfield,
Sigh.
Usyk, and you are
Game's gone.
the third name
Game's never been more gone. What's the
You're
final
already
score
in
here?
the running for that.
13-point fight, 119-106. Jai Patel. A couple more great fights on this card. I will continue my post-fight thoughts right now. I'll make this a video on the channel. Salas versus Sriracha was great. I was really annoyed that Ward kept calling him Sriracha. That's not his name. That's a sauce from Thailand, I think. It was annoying. Max Kellerman started the fight calling him Sriracha, which is his actual name. Then switched to Sriracha a couple rounds into the fight with Ward, and then fortunately switched back. Made the smart decision to switch back to his real name of Sriracha. But Andre Ward just insisted, despite his undefeated record, on calling this man Jesus Sriracha for the entire fight, even though he is Mexican and not Thai. Yeah, I don't even know if he likes Sriracha sauce. I haven't asked him. Salas landed the bigger shots in this fight from the beginning. He had the more powerful hands, shorter fighter. It seemed to me, actually, it says here they're the same size. It didn't look like that in the ring. It looked to me like Salas was shorter, but he could have just had a lower stance. He was definitely coming from a lower center of gravity, throwing shots with a lot more menace and malice. Sriracha had a nice 1-2 back up the middle, but that's part of why this fight ended in a KO, and I think why the ref stopped the fight, because Sriracha just wasn't landing any hooks. He wasn't able to get inside and land hooks. He was able to pop back with a 1-2, but Salas was basically able to land at will. And this was honestly kind of fight of the night to me, Rubio versus Palma. I still can't believe Rubio won this fight. Palma knocked Rubio down twice, man. That was a great fight. That was an awesome fight. If you missed that fight, go back and watch it. I mean, all these fights are free on Paramount. That was a banger. That was definitely fight of the night. Very, very impressed with Rubio. Rubio's a warrior, man. They said that he took some time off boxing to start his own gym. He's still not even 30 years old yet. I think he's 15-0 now after that win. He got knocked down twice by Palma. Let me check my scorecard. He got knocked down twice by Palma in the 3rd round. Palma won round 3, 10-7. But then Rubio ran the entire fight. I had him winning 5, 6, 7, and 8. I had him winning round 2 as well. I think a lot of the judges had him winning round 1. I had Palma winning round 1, and that made my fight a draw. I think the judges had it differently. I think the judges had Rubio winning round 1, so they had him winning by 1 round. Whereas I had Palma winning round 1, so I had the fight a draw, 75-75, with that 10-7 round 3. But either way, what really matters is that Rubio won the vast majority of the rounds in this fight, no matter how you score it. And he ended up winning the fight on all 3 judges' scorecards, which is pretty crazy when Palma landed 2 knockdowns, and for a while looked like he was going to win this fight by knockout. But instead, Rubio, with really constant pressure and size, he was the bigger fighter, and he just threw constantly. Like I said, it reminded me a lot of Figueroa versus Ball recently, how Figueroa won that fight. Just constantly moving forward, constantly throwing, constantly using his size, using those straights and jabs to get inside and land the hooks after the straights and jabs, never stopping moving forward. That Shark nickname, very, very apt. Very apt nickname there. Shark for Pablo Rubio Jr. And Pannon had a really good performance against Bunch as well. Bunch didn't really look great in this fight, though. He didn't throw very many shots. Vlad Pannon didn't start very good, but he eventually was able to find his volume and find his rhythm, mainly because Bunch wasn't really giving him much in return. And I think eventually when Pannon started throwing shots, Bunch even then would back off even more because he didn't want to get hurt. I was very frustrated with how Bunch wasn't throwing in the second half of this fight, but I realized that he was getting hurt when Pannon would throw back, and he just didn't want to get hurt more. So it was not a great effort by Shenard Bunch, not a spirited effort. Pannon definitely had more spirit and more effort and vigor in there, and I think that's why he ended up winning the fight ultimately. Necessarily, I think maybe Shenard Bunch, if he would have had a better start to the fight or maybe come into the fight a little more motivated, he could have won that fight. But I think Pannon just seemed to be a little more motivated, a little more on the up and up, and a little more professional, to be honest with you. A little more in a, upward trajectory in his career, whereas Bunch is more of a, established professional. And Juarez versus Anderson, this was kind of a boring fight. They didn't throw that much. Two heavyweights, they were making fun of them. The announcers were honestly making fun of their weight before the fight. Two less fit guys, but Juarez didn't look awful. Juarez could be a decent heavyweight matchup for honestly to make a higher level prospect look good. It's unfortunately the way that this sport works, but Juarez has some nice offense, right? I mean, if you want to test the prospect against the guy who's going to give offense back the other way, Juarez wouldn't be bad opposition. But Anderson, very minimal activity from Anderson. Jabbing, obviously trying to establish that big shot over the top and never really seeming to get it all that established. This was a pretty rough card at the start. There were some boring fights. This fight was boring. This fight was boring. This fight wasn't the most exciting. But Rubio versus Palma was awesome. That was a great fight. That really started. And then Sauce versus Sriracha was close and well contested. And both fighters gave very, very good account of themselves. But Salas definitely was the better fighter from the jump, looked better from the jump. And Sriracha had fewer ideas. But Sriracha is also still very young. And it's a very tough fight for him to take. I think if I was a 24-year-old fighter with 2 losses, I wouldn't take such a tough fight and risk my 3rd loss so much, especially as an underdog. And he was an underdog for a reason he lost the fight. But, it's a big stage, the co-main event of a ZUFFA Boxing event. I don't blame him for taking that. And hopefully he stays in the ZUFFA Boxing fold. But he's going to need to expand that skill set a little more. He wasn't really able to ever get in and land any effective hooks on the shorter fighter. I think he would have done well to... He threw plenty of uppercuts, but he would have done well to throw even more uppercuts in this fight. I think he ended up relying and going back to that 1-2, and it's part of why the fight got stopped, because he wasn't showing the referee anything other than that counter 1-2 back. And Opetaia versus Glanton, like I said, was a one-sided beatdown, like it always was going to be. And I don't know how confident ZUFFA is in their ability. Max Kellerman seemed a little shy to mention the notion of unifying the titles. I don't know how confident they are in being able to unify the titles. That IBF title was in the ring with Opetaia, and I'm not sure why. The fight wasn't sanctioned by the IBF, but he brings the IBF belt anyway, still claims the IBF belt. At least considers himself to be the IBF champion. And Max Kellerman, quite corny, but said that, people consider you to be undisputed, which is why I'm saying, I think that ZUFFA isn't confident in their ability to actually make that undisputed fight, which is why I'm saying, unfortunately, I think with ZUFFA, you're going to see ZUFFA be less like Riyadh season and more like HBO and more like Showtime, and see ZUFFA Boxing getting in the way of a lot of the big matchups being made, unfortunately, instead of actually facilitating them and helping them happen in the way that, the ring shows in Riyadh season were doing. And I hope that we get more of those directly Turki Al Sheikh funded and, Turki Al Sheikh directed shows to really put on those big mega fights more often, because Opetaia does need a mega fight. This is going to introduce a lot of people to him in America, but ultimately it was tough seeing Brandon Glanton just get beat down, and I would have liked to see a more defensive-minded opposition and somebody who actually stands a chance boxing against Opetaia. So that's going to do it for the stream tonight, guys. That was a fun stream. Chill at the beginning, locked in more here for the final fight. I would be more able to have a more technologically advanced stream here if my Elgato didn't break a couple of days ago, but I'm still trying to get figured out why my Elgato is no longer connecting accurately to my Xbox and to my streaming setup. But once I get that figured out, I'll be back with my gaming stuff, and I can do more complex streams that involve more than just my computer here. But for now, I'm kind of limited on what resources I have. And once again, I didn't want to show the fight. I'm sure I showed like 3 seconds of the fight there, and I'm still going to get copyright struck, especially with the audio. I'll get copyright. But the strike won't stick, hopefully. there's different kinds of copyright strikes. Hopefully I managed to get around it on this time. But that's going to do it for this stream tonight, guys. That was a fun one. Thanks for tuning in, and like and subscribe for